Yesterday you had a thought. It didn't feel like your thought. It cut through the noise of your commute, sharp and urgent, telling you to call someone you haven't spoken to in years. You ignored it. You pushed it down, labeled it as random brain static, and went on with your day. But what if that wasn't static? What if that was a transmission? We live in a world that is loud. We are constantly bombarded by notifications, deadlines, and the endless scroll of information. In this chaos, we have lost the art of listening to the subtle frequency of the divine. We assume that if God wanted to speak to us, the sky would crack open and a booming voice would echo across the mountains. But that is rarely how it works. The divine usually speaks in whispers, in nudges, and in patterns that are easy to miss if you aren't paying attention. We are going to investigate the architecture of divine communication. We aren't just talking about vague feelings. We are talking about specific, documented phenomena that millions of people experience but often dismiss. From medical impossibilities to the statistical anomalies of chance encounters, we are going to unpack the 7 ways the divine interrupts your reality to guide you. By the end of this, you won't just be looking at your life differently. You'll realize the conversation has been happening all along. You just forgot how to listen. Let's start with the most undeniable, earth-shattering sign, the glitch in the medical matrix. Science calls it spontaneous remission. Faith calls it a miracle. We are talking about the moment where the laws of biology seem to suspend themselves. Picture the scene, a sterile white room. The doctor's voice is low, professional, but heavy with bad news. The scans are up on the light box, and the shadows are in all the wrong places. The timeline is set. The science is settled. There is no medical pathway back from this. Then, the variable changes. Maybe it's a prayer circle. Maybe it's a pilgrimage. Maybe it's a singular moment of total surrender in the middle of the night. The patient returns for a follow-up, and the room falls silent. The tumor that was consuming the organ is simply gone. The tissue is healthy. The doctor is baffled, scribbling unexplained on the chart. Take the documented case of Sister Marie Simon Pierre. She was suffering from advanced Parkinson's disease. Her handwriting was a jagged scrawl. Her legs were failing. It was a degenerative, one-way street. After her community prayed for intervention, she woke up one morning and the tremors had vanished. Her handwriting was smooth and elegant. The disease didn't retreat. It evaporated. This wasn't a placebo effect. This was a biological impossibility. When you witness something like this, whether in your own body or in someone you love, it is a violent shaking of your worldview. It is a sign that the physical reality we trust so much is actually subordinate to a higher authority. But most signs aren't that loud. Most happen when your eyes are closed. This brings us to the night vision. We have to make a distinction here. There is brain dumping, the chaotic, nonsensical dreams where you're eating pizza with a celebrity in a submarine. That is just your neurons firing while you sleep. Then, there is the visitation. You know the difference instantly. These dreams possess a hyper-reality. The colors are sharper. The narrative is coherent. The emotional weight is heavy. You wake up, and the feeling of the dream lingers on your skin for hours, maybe days. Throughout history, this has been the primary channel for divine instructions. Look at the story of Joseph in the New Testament. He finds out Mary is pregnant. He is crushed, humiliated, planning to quietly divorce her. He has made up his mind. Then he sleeps. He doesn't just have a vague dream. He receives a specific, tactical instruction. Do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. Later, he is told, get up, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. These aren't metaphors. They are survival strategies. If he ignores the dream, history changes. If you are having recurring, vivid dreams that offer warnings or specific directions, stop brushing them off as digestion issues. Write them down. Pattern recognition is the first step to decoding the message. Then there is the phenomenon of the living text. You've likely opened a Bible or a book of wisdom before. You read the words, your brain processes the syntax, and you move on. But then, there is that moment. You are in a crisis. You are paralyzed by fear about a financial decision or a relationship. You flip open a page, and suddenly, the text isn't just ink on paper. It feels like a mirror. It's the sensation that the book is reading you. You stumble upon a verse like Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. In any other context, it's just poetry, but in this moment it hits you physically. Your chest loosens. The anxiety that was choking you dissolves. This is what theologians call rhema, the specific, timely word spoken directly to your situation, as opposed to logos, the general written word. It's the difference between reading a map and hearing a voice on the GPS say, "Turn left now." When a sentence leaps off the page and anchors your soul, that is a direct line of communication. Now let's move to the external world, the divine appointment. We have all had this happen. You are standing at a crossroads, needing a specific resource, a specific piece of advice, or just a sign that you aren't alone. You walk into a coffee shop, or get seated on a plane, and you strike up a conversation with a stranger. Statistically, the odds are millions to 1. But this person just happens to have the exact answer you need. They just happens to be an expert in the field you are trying to enter. They just happens to have gone through the exact tragedy you are grieving. Think about the story of Philip and the Ethiopian official in the book of Acts. Philip is told to go walk down a deserted desert road. It makes no sense. Why go to the middle of nowhere? But he goes, and at that exact moment, a chariot rolls by, carrying a powerful official who is reading a scroll he doesn't understand. Philip is the only one who can explain it. The timing is precise to the second. If Philip had stopped to tie his sandal, he would have missed him. When you meet the right person at the exact right time, do not insult the architecture of the universe by calling it a coincidence. It is an appointment. It is the universe conspiring to get you the help you asked for. This scales up into providential orchestration. This is the long game. This is where you look back at your life and realize that the worst things that ever happened to you were actually the mechanism for your greatest blessings. It's the butterfly effect, but guided. You didn't get the job you wanted. You were devastated. You felt rejected by God. But because you didn't get that job, you had to move to a different city. Because you moved to that city, you met your spouse. Because you met your spouse, you started a business that changed lives. The story of Joseph in Genesis is the masterclass on this. Sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused of assault, thrown in a dungeon for years. It looks like a tragedy. It looks like God has left the building. But every single one of those disasters was a necessary step on a staircase that led him to becoming the second most powerful man in Egypt, positioned to save the entire known world from starvation. When he looks back, he says the famous line, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." If you are in a season of closed doors, pay attention. The rejection is often a redirection. The closed door is a divine sign protecting you from a room you weren't meant to enter. Sometimes, however, the sign isn't an event. It's a sound, the audible silence. This is controversial, but it is real. There is a distinction between your inner monologue, which sounds like your voice, and the external internal voice. Survivors of accidents often report this. They are driving, and a thought interrupts their mind with commanding authority. Change lanes. Now. It's not a debate, it's an order. They obey, and seconds later, a truck jackknifes right where they were driving. This is the voice of the burning bush. It's the voice Samuel heard in the temple. It doesn't chatter, it speaks. It is usually short, authoritative, and brings a sudden clarity that cuts through confusion. If you hear a clear instruction that aligns with love, safety, and wisdom, do not rationalize it away. That is the guidance system overriding the pilot. Finally, we have the most painful sign, the divine blockade. We love the signs that say, yes. We hate the signs that say, stop. But sometimes, the most loving thing the divine can do is break your leg to keep you from walking off a cliff. This is the story of Jonah. He is running from his purpose. He hops on a boat going the wrong way, so God sends a storm. The storm isn't punishment, it's an intervention. Being swallowed by the great fish wasn't the end of Jonah. It was a time out box. It was the only way to get him to stop running and realign with his destiny. If you are trying to force a path, a relationship, a business deal, a lifestyle. And it keeps blowing up in your face. Stop fighting. Look at the wreckage. Is this bad luck? Or is this a divine blockade? Is this a loving force putting up a wall because the path you are on leads to destruction? Surrendering to the blockade is often the moment your life actually begins. Here is the truth. The signals are broadcasting 24/7. The problem isn't the transmitter, it's the receiver. We are too distracted, too busy, and too rational to notice the magic unfolding around us. So I have a challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, treat your life like a scavenger hunt. Assume that everything, the song on the radio, the delay in traffic, the random thought about an old friend, is part of a conversation. Listen, watch, and when you feel that nudge, follow it. I want to know if you've ever had one of these moments. Did you hear a voice that saved you? Did a closed door turn out to be a blessing? Tell me your story in the comments. We need to document these things to remind each other that we aren't walking this path alone. If this message found you at the exact right time, well, that's a sign too, isn't it? Like this video to claim it, subscribe for more deep dives into the spiritual life, and I'll see you in the next one.